Hi, and welcome to a special on Top Dice. We're doing Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, 4th edition. And I've got one of his biggest fans, Steve. You're right, mate.
How we doing? How you doing, all right, mate?
Oh, yeah, it's good to be here. And I love the system. I love the game. I love the setting. And I know you're just a huge fan too.
Yeah. As I look at the money I've spent on it, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's, we've got a bit of history, I suppose. We've gone through first, second, and third edition.
Yeah,
Um, First edition, I remember stocking that back in the day in my game shop. That sold absolutely brilliantly, and then we had the second edition come out, much slimmed down from the first edition. Absolutely brilliant. I loved it. Third edition, I'm going to be quite blunt, a lot less so. It had some good points. The art was amazing.
yeah,
Enough said on that one.
yeah.
And now we have the actual fourth edition that's been out now with us for a few years. Fifth edition has been announced, but fourth edition is still going to be sort of live and ongoing because it's all going to be compatible. So, what do you like about the game?
I think my main like for the game is because like back in the day when I was first started in the hobby, I went to a club that did both wargaming and role playing. So the one game that was massive at the club was Warhammer Fantasy Battle. So there was like Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and then we had the role playing game as well. So it was just, I mean, I had a Wood Elf army, my brother had a undead army, and then it was just, and then like, oh, well, there's a role playing game. So it was just, yeah. One week we'd do a war game, the following week we played WFRP. So it's just the whole world in itself. When it comes to like the war game stuff like the game Mordheim and things like that, and even the novels. When you read the novels and stuff, the world and like the description of the actual places. It's
It's
the way
just
the only way I
wonderful.
can describe the only way I can describe it really is obviously the you got the fans of Dungeons and Dragons loving Dungeons and Dragons for that reason. It's exactly the same reason for WFRP. We love it for the setting. We love it for the background. What's not like to like about it really?
Well, the careers are just absolutely brilliant. Back in the day, there was nothing like that, and the
No.
fact you could have a career class in effect with a small vicious dog as one of your actual
Vicious dog. Yeah.
the rat
That's
catcher.
always a
Oh,
point that makes you chuckle, I think, really. A small but vicious dog, yeah. We'll have one
yeah,
of them.
yeah. You can't beat a small vicious dog. Well, you could do if you had a big stick, I presume, but that would just be
Yeah,
wrong.
absolutely. Yeah.
And the whole setting, it was quite. I suppose it was. I know it's not UK and it's more of a European setting, but the
Yeah.
whole thing just screamed British. That was the thing. Everything
Yeah.
was American. Like D&D, it was like hey you all, and that's it. It was burger time, etc., etc. Pizza, get the pizza out,
Yeah.
and then we had Warhammer, and you felt with Warhammer you had to have a cup of tea rather than
Yeah.
you
Cup of
know.
tea. Yeah. Cup of
It's
tea.
that's it. Very quintessential. It was done in such a way, and it was so dark and grim as well. And like D&D, it was like fluffy's the wrong word,
Yeah. Yeah.
but certainly Warhammer had an edge to it with chaos, etc. That I think left chaotic evil in D&D standing and looking like a bit like Bo Peep. It did take it to another level. So anyway, we've got the game now. Have you got? I'm going to ask you about a few different bits and pieces of it. So I've asked you what you like about it. Is there anything you think that could be done better?
Um, I am seeing a lot of comments, especially and recently especially with the announcement of the new edition, is a lot of people, whether you want to call them haters or people who just want to have a moan or whatever, they mention the crunch of the game. It's very very crunchy. Uh, I don't particularly find it very crunchy. but then I do a lot of pre-prep. Sorry, we'd say pre-prep as a GM for the rules side, so it's not so crunchy. So whether to help, other people to just to iron that crunch out and just streamline some of the rules, that would be my only sort of critique on it, really. But then
Yeah.
I watched your episode with that Alan at Top Dice. People of a certain age do seem to like a bit of crunch, to keep that old brain working. So I mean, I don't mind it so much, really.
No, it's what we grew up with, and a
Yeah,
lot of the games now have become quite simplified. And the thing is, if you have any experience as a DM or a games master, whatever you want to call it, you can remove the crunch and make it whatever you want because the players quite often, when they sit down at the table, they know the basics of the rules, but they don't know the
yeah,
intricacies. And so
yeah,
you can hit them with anything, and that's the great thing. That's the power of being a games master. And
yeah.
you run that game, and the whole point is to drag those players in and entertain them. And Warhammer, what a setting to do that with.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you saying that as well. I mean, like the one thing that the core rule book has is, as you read through it, optional rule, optional rule, optional.
Yeah,
So you can make it as crunchy or as smooth as what you want to. If you're reading through, oh, I like their optional rule, I'll throw that in. Oh no, well, I'll leave them out. So, they're just going to bog the game down. So
yeah,
I mean, the thing with it is when you look at other game systems where you've got the rules and that's it,
yeah,
there are them little options you can sort of like, well, I'll pick at that and I'll do that. I mean, because the thing is the one thing I do, I still get my players to roll for initiative, which is one of the optional rules.
yeah.
I'll roll a d10, add it to their initiative. Whereas the bog standard rule is you've got your initiative.
That's
That's
it.
the you go in. That's it. So
It's random things can happen. So I think rolling for initiative, I think builds up a bit of tension at the table. Like, oh, go on. What,
yeah,
what, what's the goblin going to get? Oh no, the goblin's got a 10. How can that move faster than me? Oh,
yeah,
he
yeah,
just hit me. Uh,
yeah. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah,
So and
absolutely. Yeah,
that helps no end. It's part of the game, and initiative, yeah, I do like it. It's probably going to be quite controversial that, but I do like initiative, and I do like the initiative order to be random to a certain degree, so you
yeah,
can't be
yeah,
guaranteed to be going. Just because you're a hero, it doesn't mean you're going to go first every time. That's
yeah,
just that's just. I suppose I'm going to whatever monsterish is, it's anti-monster that you shouldn't be having that. Uh,
yeah.
equality, that's the way I see it. Uh,
Yeah, equality for
that
monsters.
that
Monsters
poor little
rule.
snotling should be is just as valid as your monk or paladin or whatever it happens to be, nun or even small vicious dog.
Yeah,
So anyway, right, moving on a little bit.
yeah,
Favorite books, time. Now you've got quite a stack there, so I'm going to come on
yeah.
to the all-time favorite book. We're going to leave that for a second or two. So I want
Got it.
your so keep that in mind. We're not looking for the all-time favorite book. I'm looking for your
Okay.
favorite adventure. So adventure campaign, whatever. It's only one book you can actually choose, Steve. Have
Oh,
a look. So
well,
yeah,
oh,
you
okay.
you've played quite a bit here. It can be
Okay, I could.
it could be an adventure in a book that's not
Yeah,
a campaign. It can
right,
what so go on. If you've got
right.
it there,
Okay. What I am
show
going
it.
to go for is right. Okay. Um, where is he now? It's there. It's basically it's the Uberstrike Adventures book.
The first volume.
The first volume, right? And the reason for that is again, you could, if you wanted to, if you run them in order, you could have it as a mini campaign, or you could just pick and choose what adventure you want to run out of the book. I'm actually running the Jabbersinth adventure out of that one. I'm doing that at the moment with my group,
Yeah,
and they're like, it's like, oh, what's this? What's going on? What's happening? There's that element of keeping the characters guessing, and yet, so I'm running that adventure for my group at the moment, and they seem to be enjoying it. So, I can't really say anything else other than that. No?
Yeah, it's the one that let's see if I can remember the title of it. It was actually and I've converted it through to fourth edition. Was a day late, a shilling less. I think it was actually called, and it was the start of a starter scenario for third edition. And again,
Okay.
I really liked the actual adventure premise because it showed how the world actually was, or it did in my, it really ticked the boxes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've ported that across to fourth edition, and it worked really, really well. But yeah, so that's actually mine. But the starter box again, there's some cracking stuff in there, a little bit linear, but you know what? It shows you how it should be done. So there we go.
Um, what I do like about the starter box is is when you're going through like the adventure, you're reading through the adventure, and it's actually teaching you how to play the game and
Exactly.
run the
Yeah.
game as you're going through the adventure. I did like that aspect of it. But I mean, again, it comes down the artwork, and even the little book on Uberstrike. I still use that to this day, even though it's
Yeah.
in that starter set. It's a cracking little
It's
book.
packed full of info. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I still use that to this day. And I actually wrote my own adventures based in Uberstrike. I did the first little bit for the starter set. Then after that, I started writing my own, taking the information out of the book and then putting various stuff in there. And they had a nice little encounter with goblins in Uberstrike. They had fun with that, and I even threw doom divers in at them, which they
That's
weren't expecting that, but there we are.
No. Well, that's again off subject slightly with a slightly, well, I say more than a slightly different edition. It's actually not. It's the old world. The new fourth. Well, it's out in PDF. I've had it printed out and bound, so I've got a copy of it.
Yeah,
And again, I love the feel of that because that's actually got the city setting in there.
yeah,
And you can see me using that for years, basically,
yeah,
just that bit of information. So they are really good at Cubicle 7 at getting that information and getting it in that book and in such a way that you can actually use it. So I think we can say that we are quite fanboys of Cubicle 7 as Warhammer Fantasy sort of goes.
yeah,
What
yeah,
a,
yeah.
what about a supplement? So this is going to be, is there any standout supplement for you that you think really
Um,
ticks all the boxes? Again, if you could choose just one. So you're
okay.
on a desert
Um,
island, you've chosen
yeah,
your adventure book.
yeah,
Sadly, you've no dice in there, but never mind. You know what? We can
yeah,
just
yeah.
play with
Well,
shells.
the amount of books I've got, I need a D100. So, but um, I was going to go with to start with. Where's he gone now? The Up in Arms book. I was going to go with that because again they updated the rules for combat, which I thought, well, okay, but it was just the again going back to the war game
Yeah,
when you had like the Dogs of War supplement with all the Tillian mercenaries. There's character classes for all the different like mercenary companies and stuff, and you have different. So if you're old soldier in the main book, you could go to that book and choose a different type of soldier, and I
yeah.
love that. I just thought, yeah, that
It
that was ticking boxes for me.
you can really start to personalize things
Yeah,
as a player then, and really bring it into its own, and yet not deviate from the rules
no,
with any mad classes. That's the thing I found with Warhammer, is in the classes or careers,
yeah,
we're all quite balanced, really. You might, well,
yeah,
we're
exactly.
none
Yeah,
except. But
yeah,
the thing is, where they're actually coming from, it does work, and
yeah,
you've
absolutely.
got a
Yeah,
playable
exactly.
character there. So that's one there. And have you got any all-time favorite book? If you had to,
Um, well, I'm not going to say. Well, at the moment, I actually like. I'm not. I'm going to put it in a collection. I'm really sorry. I'm going to cheat on this. the actual the enemy within campaign, the
Yeah,
companion, the actual.
yeah.
I'm not going to say the one at the moment,
They all,
all ticking the boxes, because again, the reason being is it gives you all like different information, and to change the enemy within for people who've played it before. But then there's other bits of information. There's other scenarios.
yeah.
So again, you can pick and choose what. So I'm going to go with the collection of books. I'm going to say all the companions for the enemy
That
within.
that would
Cheated
work.
a bit, sorry.
I no, I remember back in the day when they announced the Enemy Within campaign. And everyone, oh,
Yeah,
brilliant! And then they said it's going to be a two-volume set for each section, and they were going
yeah,
like, how's that going to work? And we're going to have it as five, so it's going to be 10 volumes. And people were going, oh, it's sounding like Peter Jackson and the Hobbit movies. This,
yeah,
but seriously, the information in those books. If anyone's well, people will hopefully be listening to this, and if you're into Warhammer, if you haven't picked them up, pick them all up because
yeah,
you just they go beyond the actual adventures and scenarios there. It really
yeah,
does sort of go into great detail about what's in the area, what you can do, what's around, and it's just so many ideas hitting you at once. I think
yeah,
it's overload actually at times with
yeah.
what's in
Oh,
there.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. But because there's actually in one of them, I can't remember which one it is off my head. But there's one of them. They've actually taken an adventure from the second edition, the one with the flying skulls. I forgot the name
ah,
of.
yeah,
Yeah, I forget the name of the. But yeah, they've actually transferred that into one of those books.
why
I just
not?
can't remember which one it is. But the only one I haven't got is Empire in Ruins Companion, which I'm looking to pick up at some point. That's the only one I haven't got. I've got all of them apart from that, like So yeah, but
And how
they're
far
just
how
one.
far through the Enemy Within campaign have you got?
Well, I had to sort of change the format the way I was running it, you see, and the reason being was again, obviously what gamers are like, and nobody's fault really, but life gets in the way, so I wasn't getting a full group of players. So I sort of finished it at the end of the first book, so I can pick it up again at a later date from the Death on the Reich. So yeah, we finished with Bogenhaven, but I sort of changed it where the fact that the watch got involved and the rest of the people that because I didn't want to
Yeah,
destroy Bogenhaven, you see, in my world. So and then what I did then I changed it then so the guys are doing sort of like one-off adventures, so they
yeah.
if they can drop in and out when they want, and then if I get to a point where there's two players that are that can't make it, there are some other guys that so can we have a game occasionally? I can just bring them in and just carry on with the one shot adventures. So
That
yeah, that's where I am. I've just finished the first book as such.
good. And any particular other standout book, if you're to choose one other book to take to your desert island with you? Cheated. I know you already sort of stuck five in your bag there,
Yeah, sorry
but
about that.
no, you're all right. It's valid, perfectly
Yeah.
valid. And if you could take one other book, from whatever setting that you actually wanted, Warhammer, whatever, what would you actually add in there?
Um, the Tribes and Tribulations book,
Yeah,
the Orcs and Goblins.
yeah,
That that is
classic.
a that's a really good read. That is a I think I read half the book in one sitting. It was just like, oh wow, oh wow, hello, and all the different, explain all the different tribes and stuff, and it was just it was a really really good, well written book, I thought, and
It
the
was.
artwork fantastic again, So
It it does have the series of books. They do have some typos and errors actually in there, but overall, I think the production quality on them is pretty darn good. The art is spot on.
yeah,
Um, the rules could be laid out a little bit better, I think, in
yeah,
places. Some of the writing could be tidied up a bit, but overall, I just think it's an absolute brilliant line. I really,
it
really
is,
do.
yeah.
It's
Uh,
my favorite is that version of the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay rule book,
yeah.
which is the limited edition. I'm very, very lucky to actually have a copy. So this is number
Wow,
680
that is
of,
nice.
yeah, that's it. And I hate to say it, but it's actually seeing play from time to time. So, which is probably heretical, but you know what? It's such a lovely book. I don't care. I really, really don't. I feel like a priest of Sigmar when I'm walking around with that.
Yeah,
I
we got
have
the
the
ball.
book.
You got the ball dead. You just need a hammer now. Yeah.
That's it. It's the power of the good book. And I'm looking forward to seeing fifth. I'm quite, in
I
fact,
was like, when they first announced it, I was like, oh, and then I read into it, read the reviews, and read what they were going to do with it, and I will purchase it if it's going to tidy things up, and if it's going to put stuff in some sort of better order than what it is, then and it's because it's compatible with all the stuff I've already bought. I shall pick a copy up definitely just to see what it's about like.
have you looked at Warhammer the Old World at all?
A good friend of mine sent me a PDF over. I have not looked at it yet. Now,
I think at some stage you should have a look and we can come back and we can sort of discuss the pros and cons of the two very different systems,
yeah,
two different eras, I suppose, of Warhammer, but not greatly different. And that's
right.
one of the things I actually love about it. The Age of Sigmar one, it took it, I had it, the Soulbound, it took it to another level, and it was not a level I liked. I'll be quite blunt. It ended up being passed on, unfortunately, and sold off. But fourth, yeah, it's hit it on the head, and the old world as well. Yeah, and fifth edition, hopefully that will really sort of highlight everything. And the great thing is, the books, I've got a couple behind me. I think they're sort of hidden down there. The other ones, they're not going to be sort of made useless. That's the other benefit, actually. There's nothing
Yeah,
worse than a new system coming out and all of a sudden all your old books are gone. And you know what? You've got to buy everything again.
yeah.
It, it,
Well, I got a complete. I got there was only a there's only a few things I didn't pick up. I got all the second edition stuff upstairs. Like it's all
Good
that's
source
all.
material.
Well, it is. Yeah, I mean, no, it was. Yeah, Heirs to the Empire. Because the thing is with fourth edition, it sort of it mainly concentrates around Reichland, whereas Heirs to the Empire, at least if it's not in the same sort of era. Um, you've got all the towns and the villages and all across the empire, so at least you've got a point of reference for places and that like. But I mean the one thing that I thought was unusual when it first came out, but I did like the idea was when you like the look of when you look at the games like Dungeons and Dragons, when you look at the campaign settings. So I'll take for instance Forgotten Realms. Every single edition of like Forgotten Realms or Greyhawk,
Yeah,
they went forward in time.
yeah,
Whereas with fourth edition, they went backwards, back
yeah,
to and I actually once I read through it and I like that idea. I didn't,
yeah.
it's a it's a
I,
good idea to play in.
I wasn't keen on end of times and that storyline. It was like, what are you
Yeah,
doing? Why are
mm,
you doing this?
yeah,
Oh, hang on, you're doing it to make money so you can sell more models. But that's another story. That's
yeah,
Games Workshop. This is not
yeah,
Games Workshop, although they do have the finger in the pie, quite
yeah.
obviously. Um, any last words? How would you recommend? Obviously, would recommend Warhammer. From what's been said there. But any last comments about the system?
No, no, not from me. I mean, I think we've pretty much said what we've said. The only, well, actually, no, I tell a lie. Not about the system, but the other thing I would like to add is apart from the books that you get, Cubicle 7, they do some really good little PDFs on their site, and you can get it through Drive Through RPG.
Yeah,
I mean, so like little bits of information on like little Chaos War bands and things like and they're an affordable price. I think it's about £3, 3 or 4 quid per little supplement. And I've got the one on steam tanks, and then there's one on a Goblin tribe in well, yeah, you've got to have steam tanks, haven't you?
you've got to.
Yeah, So and then there's one on the little the Goblin tribe in one of the forests, which they actually put into the Tribe and Tribulations book. There's another little supplement on a Chaos Warband for Nurgle, and just little,
Adds to it.
anybody, yeah, have a look, and at an affordable price. It's not you. Why not pick them up? It's just yeah, that's the
Extra
only thing I'm
information.
at.
Right. Well, there we go. So that's the discussion on Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Fourth Edition. We're probably going to be coming back. It might be 12 months' time before we come back and talk about the old world. And when Fifth Edition comes
Fifth
out,
edition,
promise me,
yeah,
Steve, you'll come back. We'll both have a copy of Fifth Edition in PDF or whatever. We'll sit
yeah.
there, we'll look at it, and we'll do a proper chat
We'll
about it and, and
analysis,
review it.
proper analysis.
We'll break it down and we'll tell them as it is. Good, bad,
Exactly.
warts and nurglisms of all. It'll all be there. Right. Well,
Well,
thank you very much.
no,
This is us signing out from Top Dice. Until next time. And it's goodbye from him. And
bye
it's
bye.
goodbye still from him. Maybe me as well.
Bye
Keep
bye.
rolling the dice. Bye.